We must be over 16.
I think we're over 16.
We only had one person subscribe to the one. That's why I was trying to use that one because it announces to people that we're going to live. But it didn't work, so I didn't understand. So now it's going to notify my viewers that I'm live. And then I don't actually know where it tells us. Right now there's nobody on here. And then eventually, but we can start talking, and because this is going to all cut. Oh, there's somebody here. Hi.
Hi, person.
So eventually we'll have the full video at the end of this, and I'll put it on YouTube.
Okay.
All right. So we have some people are joining now. Hello, I'm Lefty, Leftover Gains. This is my partner, Sophia.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I run the Unsheltered Phoenix social media page.
I did a couple of random lives while I was out of town last week, and I wanted to give the opportunity for people to ask questions because you guys see a lot of the work that we're doing. There's a lot of shit going on lately. A lot of people always ask me questions on like what to do, how to get involved, and it's like I haven't really had a chance to introduce Sophia, who has been doing this work that you guys are seeing me do all the time, like for a long time by herself. And like she's taught me everything I know. She's been super involved in the Valley for a very long time. And she's very smart. And I don't know what else to say until somebody asks a question. What are you doing?
You're embarrassing me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. These are your flowers.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could just start talking about some topics, like the fact that I didn't even post about it yet, but if you guys hadn't seen the news recently, the 8-foot law passed for recording police in Phoenix, Arizona. Or not Phoenix, excuse me, Arizona. So now, within 8 feet, you cannot record police. And this is an issue because, as I kind of went over it in a video a long time ago, is that point is going to change. The police officer is going to walk at you and push you off.
Yeah, what defines a scene is definitely open to interpretation, so they're going to definitely abuse that power as much as possible. They've already been joking about it going into effect, like cops avoid accountability at every single turn, and things are just getting worse. So
yeah, 100%. And another thing, what's your favorite joke? The Phoenix Police Department. But so we have a general information packet, and actually I think I can turn the camera around. Can I do it while we're live? Maybe not. Please forgive me, I don't know how to do this. All right, so we're gonna go this way, but I'm just showing you the screen. But the general information packet came out today from the city of Phoenix. You can go to the website, check it out. And basically what that has, you can't see anything, so I'm just gonna put the camera back on us. Basically what happened, here I'm gonna read it off to you. They have spent so far $1.9 million on being investigated. It's costing us money for the Phoenix Police Department to be investigated. There's a breakdown of what they're spending that on. Does that apply if they pull us over? You know what? I'm not 100% sure. Do you know that 8-foot law?
I don't. And I imagine there's going to be quite a bit of nuanced situations that will come into question.
It's like, it's not really clear in the language. Honestly, it's probably going to come up. And then it's going to be like up to what the situation is and how it's handled in a court.
But let's go back to this 1.9 million real quick. So, according to the breakdown, there's been up to 9 full-time employees investigating this. And it looks like where the brunt of the monies are going, $1,354,000.
9, yeah, Jesus.
And you know what? It's wild because they're investigating things that have already been proven. So we know for a fact, absolute fact, that police have been throwing away items of unhoused people. We know that yes, go look for the videos if you haven't seen them yet. But yes, that's a thing. It's not anything to dispute. And then we also know that they were retaliatory policing. Ask all the people who had felony charges and how long that took them and how it impacted their lives. And so
I have a friend who I haven't actually spoken to in a while, but they could not get housing because of it. It was a whole situation because the pending charges were showing up. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, so I'm going to decline. And I'm going to turn off invites because I don't know what I'm doing. So what was I saying? It was important.
Your friend you haven't talked to.
All right, my friend, she could not get housing. She got, her it was back during that time, and she didn't they didn't renew her lease. She could not get housing because it was showing up when they were looking her up, and they're like, we don't want this pending felony person. She got housing in the end because I signed for her lease. It was a whole fucking thing. It's ridiculous. It changed her damn life. And she's doing better now, thank God. I hope so as well, because I haven't seen them. But like, it's like that has like repercussions that is going to affect her for the rest of her life. And
yeah, even when charges get dropped, people can still see them in certain cases. And also just the idea of felony charges and felony gang charges, that has left like an impression in the community. Like the way it gets referenced from like white nasty men and their hate speech, talking about how, you know, we're all just gang members, us protesting. So it's just like they knew what they were doing. And even though those things are you know, supposedly in the past, it's not going away. And so here we are looking at this 1.9 million breakdown for the investigation, the DOJ investigation, and it's just fully fucking bullshit, because all of this money can definitely be spent elsewhere.
Yeah, so let's see. That's not good.
It's all of Arizona, not just
all of Arizona. Sorry, I misspoke when I mentioned that. This is an Arizona law, so Tucson, everywhere. Woke up from a food coma. We were just talking about the new. It happened right before Roe versus Wade. I actually completely blanked on it. That law about recording police within 8 feet has passed, so you're not allowed to record police within 8 feet. And like I was discussing, like this is the cop, right? And this is us. And can you hold this right here? All right, this is the crime scene, right? Here's a cop.
Yeah, so. And I think that language was intentional. Like, let's leave it as vague as possible so that the cops can interpret, you know, who's allowed to film them and how. One thing I was kind of thinking with this is like they'll intentionally stand in front of you. They'll pull cars in front of you. They'll ask fire trucks to pull themselves in front of you while you're filming. I've seen it happen.
Hasn't that happened to you?
I've been through it multiple times. And so one thing I was thinking is there's those selfie sticks. And so I kind of was thinking, like, how can we get creative about, like, filming in different ways so that we're still able to catch scenes? Because we know they're up to dirty shit. Yeah. We've seen they're up to dirty shit. We've experienced they're up to dirty shit all the time. So,
I actually am pretty sure there's quite some restriction on civilian drones.
Yeah.
And they got that fucking budget for the drones recently. Like, we're throwing money at the police. And oh my God, the drones, I didn't even really get a chance to talk about it because these things just keep happening. It's like this fascism avalanche. Anyways, the drones, the police have them, and they have a pretty, like, blanket pass with how to use them. They have no restrictions. That was the biggest thing about that bill. I believe it was District 8 who was bringing it up. It's like, we're passing this, and it has no restrictions. With the most violent police force that's being investigated, that we're throwing money at the investigation.
So we have a question in the chat. Is this more just to arrest people and stop them, or do they actually want to charge people with this? So my first inclination would be like, yes, they want to cause as much harm as possible. If anyone here has ever cop watched been openly recording the police and had them notice you openly recording, then you might know how much they fucking hate it. They absolutely hate it. It gets their trigger finger real itchy, and I didn't know that's what was happening, but it's definitely on multiple of my recordings of filming police. They get real itchy. Their hands get real shaky because they don't like being watched, and so I imagine they don't just want to stop people from recording. They want to make it as harmful as possible. When I was out in the zone early 2020, mid 2020 recording during the start of COVID, they wrote me 8 tickets. And so, like, it wasn't an accident that, that they're paying extra attention and they put false charges on you. I imagine they're going to use this in the most gleeful way possible to them.
I'm just writing a little note for people when they're joining, like what we're talking about.
Disrupt activism and not necessarily prosecute people. Yeah, I mean, we know that they want to disrupt all of the movement because they see it as inherently anti-them. They're not wrong. So, yeah.
And 8 foot.
foot recording law.
Okay. Just read it. Only applies in some instances and circumstances. That's nice. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how it goes.
You know how they
I'll let you know.
It's just like
how it goes.
how their cameras don't work. And, it's backwards. I'll figure this out better next time. Sorry, guys.
And it's allowed if the officer is okay with filming. Yes, that's a great point, because I can tell you right now I'm not going to be allowed to film. I'm not going to get any officer's permission. So that's just sort of like a moot point. It might be okay for certain media accounts. I have seen some very, very bootlickery accounts that go and they chase these emergencies, these police situations in order to catch shots of them like looking cool and like taking down these people who are criminals and only criminals, right? Because that's the point where we dehumanize people, when we're allowed to call them criminals, when we're allowed to think of them as only bad guys and literally just shove their face into the fucking ground, like regardless of what the charge is. So you're not going to get a lot of cops being like, sure, you can go ahead and film me. I give you permission to get closer than 8 feet.
I would hope so. It's like, it's like the thing is that with these laws, they're super vague. Like the drone being passed, they're like, they don't have anything. There's a lot of like no language.
Yeah. But,
because of the asking, I assume if they come to my home, it would be allowed.
Let's not talk about things that we don't specifically know. And it's worth noting that, like, the law is malleable. When cops break the law and they arrest you for no reason or they violate your rights, unless you have a lawyer that can actually enforce that, like, they're going to get away with it. So, like, I can tell you multiple times when my rights have been violated. I've taken information to court. I tried to represent myself. I tried to show them, like, all this evidence and
I've done that.
Bring video footage, and, like, the judges are just as racist as the cops. And so, like, unless you have a good ass lawyer and you can afford litigation, you have the time for that whole process, then you're not really going to get anywhere. So let's stay away from like these questions of legalities, because we know that legal is open to interpretation depending on who the person is affected, right? So when cops are affected, well, everything's legal. But when it's us affected, things are more often than not illegal. But I don't just want to talk about downer things. Let's talk about something like power to the people. Let's talk about...
I hear a cat in the back.
Oh, I was in my car the other day, and I'm always the one giving out frozen water bottles, and I saw a car in front of me giving out frozen water bottles. So I thought that was cool.
I have seen a lot of my neighbors, like, and when I say my neighbors, I mean just like general in the area, and not personally that I know, that doing more things. So we've seen people putting out water coolers, bottles of water.
A lot of sharing. I seen little signs in people's yards as free water or cold water. I thought that was really cool. I saw a couple on a business the other day. I think it was like a tire shop or a mechanic shop, and they were just advertising that they had free water for people walking by. I thought that was really fucking cool. We need more of that.
Which is a clear difference from the closest stores nearest to the zone that say they're out of ice.
Yeah, Circle K actually makes so much money off of like poor people and homeless people because of the food deserts here in Phoenix. And so people are going to Circle K for basic ass groceries and provisions and spending most of their extra income there, and Circle K is not showing them any love back. Like there are some cool employees.
Depends on who's working.
We don't want to give up their spot, but there are some cool employees. But for the most part, Circle K company is really acting trashy when it comes to the heat right now. They're limiting people's ice intake, knowing damn well it doesn't cost them anything, a drop in the bucket compared to what they make off these same people. So, nice.
Thank you,
for
Lauren.
helping.
Thank you, and thank you, Mineral Monsters, as well as a follower who likes to post their stories with their family. They involve their kids. I think it's really important that we show the next generation, because Gen Z is doing a lot. Thank you, Gen Z.
If you have the money, you can get away with anything. 100%.
I didn't see that one.
It's at the very top. It says, thoughts on Phoenix PSL.
What's PSL?
Party for Social Liberation.
The politics talk.
I think this is a weird question to like get on our live and ask us about other groups. I used to have friends in Phoenix PSL, but that's the most I'll say about it right now.
I'm an abolitionist. You're an abolitionist, right? We're abolitionists.
And what is that? Where does that answer to?
PSL. I was like, I don't know shit about them. Sorry.
Yeah. That's a weird question. I also want to talk about people giving out blankets. So sometimes people are like, why do you need blankets in the summer? It's so fucking hot. Well, let me tell you something, friends. The ground is hot. Not only is the ground hot as outside, but actually much more hot. So we have seen in our little temperature guns that it can get up to, 140? What's the highest we've seen it?
I haven't done it in a minute because I was busy, but this on the asphalt was about 150. It was the highest. Yeah. Okay. I cooked an egg. It didn't cook very fast, but it cooked.
It cooked. Yeah.
I need to do more videos like that.
And so blankets are really helpful. Another thing that's sort of an easy way to help people out that you see on the streets is like sometimes you have folks who are always in the same little spot. You always see someone off of 7th Ave on that corner. You always see someone switching shade from where the sun directly hits it from that side of the street to that side of the street. And then maybe they don't have a lot of stuff with them. They can't hold on to enough or to a lot of stuff. So how can you help them from the very hot ground? You can just drop off big pieces of cardboard, and they may not use it, and you don't necessarily even have to say if you want to leave it nearby. I know sometimes we're intimidated to interact with other people. It can be I could be sort of shy, and so one way that we can help them out, and it doesn't matter if whatever we give them gets thrown away, is if we give them the big cardboard pieces. So I've seen so many 3rd-degree burns just covering people's bodies because they end up passing out in the heat, and they end up with the marks of the ground like burned into their flesh. And so this is a really easy little way we can be looking out for folks.
And just to be clear, leftover mutual aid is me. I have my phone. I'm trying to respond to people as well.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Ooh, ooh, look at all that trauma. Yay,
yeah.
Fatigues.
Does anyone have any questions about...
Tucson's going to do tiny houses? Yay. We want to do that.
What we don't want is those, like, disposable tiny houses. I don't know if you guys remember that. The city of Phoenix was proposing these, like, really expensive contracts for these, like, little, like, almost like plastic cardboard tiny houses. It's important to reject these really inflated contracts when we know that it's not going to really help. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
I don't think there was anything else I particularly wanted to talk about. This was mostly a thing that if you guys wanted to ask questions, which we had a couple.
Yeah. Had a couple questions. Let's leave it.
No.
Let's not talk about that. I'm not trying to give negative attention to people who exploit people.
No.
Yeah. I will talk about reminding everyone that Phoenix Police is on every call in the largest encampment in Arizona. So the zone area, Jefferson, 8th Avenue through 13th Avenues-ish, is the area known as the zone, has probably close to 1,500 people. I have noticed that the city officials are recently lying about how many people are out there. Everyone benefits from lying about how many people are out there. Y'all are full of shit. I'll say it again. Y'all are full of shit. But Phoenix Police is on every emergency call. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but we're still right in the middle of an opioid epidemic happening here in Phoenix and most of Arizona. And the idea that Phoenix Police are going to show up to every emergency call, like imagine being hurt and having fucking police and their